The Nature of Belief by Frost in the Warren. Chapter 7. I'm Out Here in the Dark. Past. Jack loved to dance. It was a chilly night in Italy, at least for others, but that didn't come close to stopping those determined to step onto the dance floor. Jack's head hung over the side of the roof, bright fairy lights hanging all around to illuminate the patio, whose open sliding doors he was peeking into. Jack used his arms as leverage to flip himself off the roof, landing with a solid crouch. Jack liked coming to this place. The upscale dance studio hosted a lot of parties, like the one going on tonight, and was privately owned by a woman named Allegra, with a true passion for what she taught. He enjoyed watching her teach. He couldn't understand what she said, but he copied her motions and gestures. He followed along, learning what he could. He was at least a somewhat good dancer by now, if he did say so himself. He'd even taken the time to practice on his own with his staff as his, not very responsive, but partner. He hid his staff in a decorate bush by the doors and straightened out his hoodie self-consciously. As he entered, Jack scanned the room, looking for a suitable dance partner. The first to catch his eye was a man in the process of escorting a young lady to the dance floor. He stepped into position, breathing deeply to stave off the breathlessness that came when the young lady entered the same position with him. At least it didn't really hurt, he acknowledged. Not like it did with other spirits, which was probably why he'd never tried this with them. The couple began their dance, and Jack kept pace. He stared up at his partner, a man in his early 20s with curly brown hair and dark eyes. Jack smiled when he spoke, voice rich with laughter and obvious affection. For a moment, Jack let himself imagine what it would be like to have someone look at him like that. His cheeks frosted the tiniest bit before Jack sighed wistfully and shook the thought away. He needed to stop doing this to himself. It would only end in upset. Jack switched partners several times in the following 2 hours. Sometimes he shared positions with men, others with women. Eventually, he spotted the person he'd come for in a bright green dress. Pulling away from the lady he'd danced with, Jack stepped into the place of the man he'd started the night with. He and the young man began leading their partner, an elderly woman with eyes as dark as the man's. "Hello, Allegra," Jack said fondly. She moved slowly. She had to now. The arthritis had eaten away at her knees with a vengeance in recent years. She couldn't dance like she used to, like he'd seen her do. But somehow she still danced. He suspected she would until the day she died. "It's good to see you again." He smiled. She said something that made the young man laugh. He then shivered, and Allegra seemed to tease him for it. "Yeah, sorry, that's my fault. This is kind of the only way I could get someone to dance with me." She laughed, and Jack pretended it was because of him. "I know, but that I'm right. I'm so bad no one can stand to even touch me." Allegra and the young man continued to chat, and Jack was quiet for a few moments. At the first lull, he piped in. "Your grandson here's a good dancer, by the way. You've taught him well, like your mom taught you, remember?" Jack huffed. "Don't like me, though. I can barely manage to attend your lessons." He sobered, good humor fading in the edges of his smile. "I did something bad to myself a few years ago. I'm sure you'd be mad if you know. Baby Tooth was." And sad. She'd been very sad. "But I'm not going to do it again, promise." Jack looked her over, merging laugh lines and gray hair with the bright young girl from so many decades ago. "I'm going to miss you when you're gone." Allegra stopped their dance, appearing winded, and her grandson stepped from position. Jack gasped as they separated, no longer sharing the same space. He led her away, and Jack watched them go. "Happy birthday, Allegra," he said. "Goodbye." Jack walked onto the patio. He retrieved his staff from the bush and hopped onto the roof. He set the staff down once more and held his arms in position. Quiet though it was, the music was still clear enough to dance to, even if he was dancing with no one. And if his imagination featured a partner that was obviously male and liked to wrap Jack into long embraces unsuited to this particular dance, well, that was his business, wasn't it? The next time Jack visited Allegra, it was at her grave a year later. It was also the last time. Present. Jack felt like he'd just stepped into an M.C. Escher painting. "Jeez," he said, walking on a slanted pathway. "Did he take design tips from the Goblin King?" Not that there was anything wrong with that per se. The Goblin King just really liked his upside-down staircases and singing and dancing in tight pants, and if Pitch started taking up those habits as well, Jack was going to need some form of brain bleach. Jack preferred having things right side up, thank you very much. Jack gripped his staff tight, scanning around himself carefully. He didn't like it here one bit. The shadows felt alive. It made his skin crawl. That was when he spotted the cages hanging from the ceiling in some kind of antechamber. He jumped up, clutching the side of one cage. It swung, making the little fairies inside squeal. "I'm gonna get you out," he assured reflexively, but his eyes scanned for one in particular. Baby Tooth. Where was Baby Tooth? There was an anxious twitter below him, and Jack turned his head towards it. An iron globe turned slowly on a raised dais. In front of it was a table. On it was a bird cage with thin, close-together bars. Inside, a lone fairy clutched at those bars. Relief flooded through him. "Baby Tooth!" He dropped down onto the dais silently. Baby Tooth squeaked, reaching for him through the bars. He took a step towards her. "So there is someone here." A shadow moved behind the globe, and Pitch stepped from it. Jack froze several feet away as Pitch stood beside the cage, a hand coming to rest atop it. Pitch observed Baby Tooth in a cage. "I knew this one would be important." Jack raised his staff defensive. Baby Tooth cried out, arms waving at Jack frantically to get away. Pitch followed the line of her gestures to the area Jack was in. "Yes." Pitch came forward, vaguely circling Jack, eyes scanning the air and floor. "Definitely someone. But who?" Sharp golden eyes narrowed as though trying to get a clear fix on a squirming butterfly to pin it down by its wings. "What poor sap has lured and off-socketed to helping his guardians when they can't even see you?" Pitch paused in his circling suddenly, once more beside the cage. "Or perhaps," understanding flooded his face, "they don't believe in you?" Jack flinched. A terrible parody of a Cheshire grin cut sharp lines on Pitch's cheeks. "That is it, isn't it? They don't believe in you. Nobody does." He became introspective for a moment. "But this is old magic. Only Nooninov could have done this. But why?" "I don't know." Jack smiled condescendingly. "Why don't you ask it for me?" "But I'm aware of you now, and—" Pitch seemed to concentrate very hard. "Ah, there it is. I can taste your fear." He closed his eyes and breathed deeply as though savoring in it. "It's so potent." His eyes opened. "That's your greatest fear. That no one save this sweet little fairy will ever see you." Pitch grabbed the top of the cage and shook it violently, sending Baby Tooth bouncing against the bars. "But who are you?" "Stop it!" Jack slammed his staff down, ice shooting in spikes from the floor at Pitch. The boogeyman dodged, staring at the ice with a low chuckle. "I think I know who you are." He disappeared into the shadows. Jack bolted after, angry and unsettled. In that moment, he wanted nothing more than to freeze Pitch to a wall and force him to let Baby Tooth and Sandy, still alive, not dead Sandy, to go. He was led on a wild goose chase down hallways, over upside-down bridges, and through shadows. Jack's staff glowed in the darkness, a beacon of bright white blue. One moment there'd be scratching behind him, and he'd turn to fire at it. Then it would change, the sound appearing above him. Deprived of sight, Jack scrambled around blind, looking for a monster in the dark. In one all too frightening and horrid moment, Jack had even believed the scratching was coming from inside of him. Jack kept running, kept chasing, and then suddenly they were no longer in Pitch's lair, but in tunnels. Grassy green tunnels, with bright bits of broken eggshell scattered about. Jack gasped, head jerking, as he took in the destruction. "No! You! What have you done?" "Not what did I do?" The voice was a menacing whisper in his ear, and he turned in time to see Pitch melting into the shadows. Gold eyes, cool and amused, stared right at him. "What did you do?" He disappeared entirely, voice echoing eerily around in the tunnel. "Happy Easter, Jack." Pitch reappeared on the dais, eyes landing briefly on the little fairy with the mark under its eye. It began squeaking at him, voice high and swift with its fury. Pitch snorted and backhanded the cage off the table. The fairy cried out as the cage hit the floor, whimpering in pain, but otherwise thankfully quiet. Chuckling, Pitch observed the globe. Its lights began steadily blinking out one by one. A look of satisfaction slipped across his face, thin lips twisted with cruel happiness. Then his eyes landed on the North American continent, and the look shifted to curiosity and something altogether darker. "Jack Frost," Pitch said, stroking a finger over the United States to rest on the small area where Burgess resided. "Or should I call him Jackson Overland?" He tapped his finger twice. "The boy who believed in the boogeyman. What a fool you are, Lunalof." He turned his eyes upward as though he could see through the ceiling to the moon. "Did you think you could hide him from me forever?" The smile returned, just as twisted. "Oh, no, old friend, not forever. Not forever at all." Pitch curved his fingers, nails scratching harshly with painful high-pitched screeching across the meadow. He laughed. The moon didn't answer, didn't even hear him. But high up in the sky, as though sensing Pitch's intent, it seemed to dim slightly.